Nate Heisey probably had his biggest contribution for you guys yet. I mean, what do you think of his play, and why did you feel that tonight was the night that you were going to play him as much as you did?
Well, Nate's a tremendous competitor, somebody that brings great energy to our team, and especially when you go on the road and you play a really good opponent, and you know it's going to be a hostile environment, and the other team's going to be at their best. He's a guy that you put a lot of trust in, and when he was out there tonight, I liked his energy. I like what he brought to us defensively. He's a terrific cutter, shot maker, playmaker. So just happy for him that he's playing as well as he is.
TJ, how would you describe your guys' execution in the last 3 or 4 minutes?
I felt like, we were striving all game. I mean, credit to Coach McCaffrey, their staff, and their players because they spaced us out so well. They had such a great plan. They had us back on our heels for the first 35 minutes, and that's a huge credit to them. Our guys were, we've played relatively well against good teams, and they were relentless. And I felt like the last, 4 or 5 minutes, defensively, we were a little better guarding the dribble. We were a little better contesting, finishing plays on the glass. And then it allowed us to get out and go in transition. And I think, guys made big shots, whether it's Key, Curt. There's a lot of big plays, Taman, late, where guys made plays. But our team is at its best when we're disruptive defensively, and then we get out and go transition. And again, to the credit of Coach McCaffrey and their staff and players, they did the great job of keeping us away from our game and our identity for 35 minutes or so.
I was going to ask about that, TJ, given the low frequency of live ball turnovers. You yet had guys come in and hit shots just to keep you in, whether it be Curt, Keyshawn Lay. What does that say about your team's ability to win in yet another way?
Yeah, I think, there's throughout the course of the season, you're put in a lot of tough spots, and there's a lot of challenges that come your way. And we really try to build, young men in our program that, we expect adversity to come. We expect there to be challenges. We don't prepare thinking we're going to play perfectly or everything's going to go well. And what really matters to me is how, because I think it's probably as important of a life skill as you can have, is when something doesn't go to your way, how do you respond? And our guys had that happen, over and over again. They were so good. We just couldn't get that game tie until I think it was 66 all. It's a big difference mentally when you can get back to even or even take the lead. And, I think it shows resiliency from our guys. I think there's a lot of pride in our program and playing for our fans and our alums and donors and everybody that does so much to give us this opportunity. I think there's certainly that pride there, and that showed up for us late.
What about with Taman and the second half that he had, and after the first half and everything he's been going through, like health-wise, the confidence for him to step up and take those shots still?
Yeah, I think I made the comment a few days ago about him being a superhero. And when you see the shots are great, but there were so many plays, hustle plays, rebounds, loose balls. I felt like he was so tenacious in that department. Those plays are, they're not 50-50 balls, and they weren't tonight with him. He commanded and demanded all of those. And as much as the shot making's great, the play making's great, the defense is great, I really believe that those plays are those energizing plays that take your team to another level and give everyone confidence. And the way that he makes them and the consistency he makes them with is a huge credit to his character and who he is as a person, the work that he puts in, and then, the pride that he has in the job well done.
TJ, it's been 10 years since Iowa State won in this building, and yet what's different about this team that's able to come here and win? And then what was different about the crowd? You seem to have a lot more fans here than usual.
Well, the continuity on our roster certainly is important. We were able to return, as many guys as we were that were with us, and I think, at this point in college athletics, having that continuity is important because those guys, we've been through some really tough fights together already. We've had that experience and those experiences under our belt last season, and then even for Taman and Demarion Watson to be here, 2 years ago when we took the loss. So I think it speaks volumes of our guys and how they lead one another, and their ability to just, focus on that task at hand, to have each other's back. Because it is important. You've got to find ways to win a lot of different ways, and the way that went tonight probably wasn't my first choice coming into the game, but grateful and fortunate that our guys hung in there and found a way.
How How important was Joshua's passing for the most?
Yeah, Joshua, as we've seen, as each game has moved forward, he's gotten more and more comfortable. Our guys are looking for him more, and his skill level and intelligence and ability to make the right read and the right play is terrific. And it's really a challenge for a defense when you can throw the ball into him, and if you bring a double or help from anywhere, he's going to find the open shooter or the cutter, like he did with Heisey and Deshaun. So Joshua, it's a neat story because he's somebody I've known since he was a sophomore in high school, and recruited him at my previous stop. Had a lot of confidence in what he could do. So to be able to be on this journey with him now is really special, and to see his confidence continue to grow. I don't place as much credence into the numbers, but 19, 10, and 7 against a really good team on the road and a win is really impressive. And I still think there were so many more things he did to help us win that don't show up in the stat sheet.
You talked about this game maybe not going the way you wanted it to, or it not being your first choice. How important was it to kind of have to come back on the road with a new group while returning still some key players, but having so many new pieces at the same time?
Yeah, like I said, as much as proud of our resiliency, I think tonight, Iowa, they came out and they were ready to play. They were focused. They were locked in. They made shots. They backed us up time and time again. But I think, as much as I wish we would have dictated more with our defense early, I don't think we guarded the basketball in the first half or even, most of the second half the way that we like to guard the ball in our pride in defending the basketball. And so for us, you've got to find ways to win in different ways. And I think, like, in the end, certainly I would prefer our defense set the tone throughout the course of the game. But we were fortunate that we came back to our identity those last 5 minutes and really kind of locked in and focused on the team that we are and the team we need to be. And that says a lot about the character of our guys.
You guys had 18 offensive rebounds, 11 in the second half, and nobody gets that many by accident. How did you sort of generate those second half opportunities, and how important was it to pulling this game out?
Yeah, for us, there's certain things that we can look at with our guys to determine the effort and the energy. And as I mentioned, I wasn't as pleased with how we defended the basketball. One area we certainly did a great job was on the offensive glass and being resilient there throughout the course of the game. It started right away, and the combination of Jackson and Jefferson going to each other into the paint and then being in position to rebound was extremely important. Taman's ability to chase them down and keep extra possessions alive was important as well. But that's, again, rebounding, there's a skill piece to it, but so much of it comes down to heart and determination and effort. And to be able to keep our focus on that area from start to finish, that was one of the big positives for us throughout the course of the game.
If you don't want to analyze Iowa, I understand, but if you don't mind, what do you think their prospects and potential may be?
Well, the thing that's where I feel like they showed tonight, and we know, is like they can really space you and shoot the ball. So they came out, started the 4-guard lineup with Samford at the 4, which usually they play him at the 3 and start Dembele. So they showed that versatility. I think with Thilwell as a young guard to come out and make shots early, that was huge. Dembele as a sophomore to bang the shots that he hit. That's a big game, and those guys showed that they can make big shots. So I think as you look, move forward for their team, they're really good, and I think that they can play big, they can play small. They've got a lot of young guys that are going to be really, really good players, and those guys will keep getting better. I know Coach does a great job developing them, so they'll continue to improve as the year goes on.
With the way Keyshawn has had the ball in his hands in close games for you this season, how important was it to see Curtis do that tonight?
Well, I think Keyshawn has been very commanding of games, specifically late. In the way that we've played, there's been so many times where his ability to attack the rim and the paint and make plays. He's somebody, like, his competitive spirit and his drive is at such a high level. And so on our team, what's neat to see is that, again, it doesn't always have to be the same guy. And Keyshawn had pretty much been that guy up until this point for this season. And then Curt today, in a major way, made play after shot. And so many clutch ones, the big 3 late that gave us some separation. So I think it's great for our team because night in and night out, you're going to need it to be different guys. You're going to have different challenges that present themselves for one reason or another. And Curt's a guy who's a terrific worker, tremendous character guy that puts the time in, and he's earned the right to have that confidence. So as somebody that, as the leader of this program, when you see a guy who puts the work in and then it pays off for him, those are moments as a coach where you feel really proud.
Coach, obviously, talk about going back to Taman, obviously, of recent, he has struggled to kind of shoot the ball. I know you call him a superhero with everything he does with his hustle plays and playmaking abilities. And you saw in the first half he missed all 3 of his shot attempts. What did it mean for him to kind of bounce back and kind of see the ball go through the hoop, just confidence-wise going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, Taman shot 39% from 3 last year, and he was a guy that we counted on to make big shots. He's dealt with various injuries and challenges that, most guys probably wouldn't, be able to play through, and he does, and we appreciate it. And at the same time, for him, when you put the work in that he does, when you see that first one go through, you could see a look in his eye at half that he was able to dial in some mental toughness to dig deep. And then when that first one goes in and you see that rhythm, his confidence took a whole nother step forward. So Taman is a superhero. Like I said, I mean, he is so much of what he does doesn't make sense, but it works. He's a winner, and just, really proud of him to step up and make those shots, and fortunate to be his coach.
How much does a game like that, where you keep responding and on the scoreboard you're not really making progress? Obviously there was some in the second half, but you keep responding and finally hit it near the end of the game, especially right before Big 12 play.
Yeah, no, I kept looking at the scoreboard, and, not to say my math is great, but every time I looked up there, it just seemed like we were always down 5, we're always down 6, now we're down 8. And you felt like there was times we were playing the way we needed to play offensively, but we weren't as, as focused on the defensive side like we needed to be. So, again, I think our guys have a lot of pride, a lot of confidence, a lot of togetherness. That showed up for us late when it was, really in the balance and we needed to step up. As we move forward, it's my job to make sure that we play that way for the full 40 minutes, and we'll continue to put our focus into doing that.
TJ, how much added stress does it put on a defense when you go up against a team that just loves to look for the open man or make that extra pass?
Yeah, it does. I mean, they moved the ball great. They did a great job putting us in space. We didn't guard the basketball the way we wanted. Tremendous willingness by them to make the extra pass and keep moving it. It gives us some challenges. I mean, I think, when I look back at like last year and some of the times we struggled, it was teams that were able to keep the ball moving like that, and they did a phenomenal job finding the open man, and then you still have to make the shot. And early they certainly did that, and we were fortunate. Later we were a little better with some of our contests, a little better on the basketball, gave us a better chance to get stops.
Thanks, everyone. We gotta go. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.